everyone, and welcome to Pocket Theater's spring anti-play, The Bald Soprano. My name is Isabella, and I'm the director for the show. Thank you all for showing up and supporting our amazing cast and crew who have been working this entire semester on the show. I would also like to thank the Tabler Arts Center staff for allowing us to use their space. Before we begin, we need to get into fire safety. In the rare case of a fire, there are 2 exits in the back, to the left and to the right. Please choose the closest one and exit out the main entrance. And you can keep your playbills this time when you leave. Thank you and enjoy the show.
There. It's 9 o'clock. You've drunk the soup and eaten the fish and chips and the English salad. The children have drunk English water. You've eaten well this evening. That's because we live in the suburbs of London and because our name is Smith. Potatoes are very good fried and fat. The salad oil is not rancid. The oil from the grocer at the corner is better quality than the oil from the grocer across the street. It is even better than the oil from the grocer at the bottom of the street. However, I prefer not to tell them that their oil is bad. However, the oil from the grocer at the corner is still the best. Mary did the potatoes very well this evening. She did not do them well last time. I do not like when they are well done. The fish was fresh. It made my mouth water. I had 2 helpings. No, 3 helpings. That made me go to the WC. You also had 3 helpings. But the 3rd time, you took less than the first 2 times. Whereas for me, I took a great deal more. I ate better than you this evening. Why is that? Usually it is you who eats more. It is not appetite you lack. But still, the soup was perhaps a bit too salty. Or saltier than you. There were too many leeks and not enough onions. I regret I didn't advise Mary to add some aniseed stars. The next time I'll know better. Our little boy wanted to drink some beer. He's going to love getting tiddly. He's like you. At the table, did you notice him stare at the bottle? But I poured some water from the jug into his glass. He was thirsty and he drank it. Helen is like me. She's a good manager, thrifty, plays the piano. She never asks to drink English beer. She's like our little daughter who drinks only milk and eats only porridge. It's obvious she's only 2. She's called Peggy. The bean and quince pie was marvelous. It would have been nice, perhaps, to have had a small glass of Australian burgundy with the sweet. But I did not bring the bottle to the table because I do not wish to set the children a bad example of gluttony. They must learn to be sober and temperate. Mrs. Parker knows a Romanian grocer by the name of Popescu Rosenfeld, who has just come from Constantinople. He's a great specialist in yogurt. He has a diploma from the School of Yogurt Making in Adrianople. Tomorrow, I shall buy a large pot of native Romanian yogurt from him. One doesn't often find such things here in the suburbs of London. Yogurt is excellent for the stomach, the kidneys, the appendicitis, and the apotheosis. It was Dr. Mackenzie King who told me that. He's the one who takes care of the children of our neighbors, the Johns. He's a good doctor. One can trust him. He never prescribes any medicine he hasn't tried out on himself first. Before operating on Parker, he had his own liver operated on first, although he was not the least bit ill.
But how does it happen that the doctor pulled through while Parker died?
Because the operation was successful in the doctor's case and It was not Parker's.
Then Mackenzie is not a good doctor. Either the operation should have succeeded with both of them, or else both should have died.
Why?
Well, a conscientious doctor must die with his patient if they can't get well together. The captain of the ship goes down with his ship into the briny deep. He doesn't survive alone.
One cannot compare a patient with a ship.
Why not? A ship has its diseases too. Moreover, your doctor is as pale as a ship. That's why he should have perished at the same time as his patients. Like the captain of the ship.
Oh. I hadn't thought of that. Perhaps it is true. And then, what conclusion do you draw from all this?
All doctors are quacks. And all patients too. Only the Royal Navy is honest in England.
But not sailors.
Oh, naturally. Here's the thing I don't understand. In the newspaper, it always lists the ages of the deceased, but never the ages of the newly born. That doesn't make sense.
I never thought of that.
Says here Bobby Watson died.
My God, the poor man. When did he die?
Why do you pretend to be astonished? You know very well he's been dead these past 2 years. Surely you remember we attended his funeral a year and a half ago.
Oh, yes, of course I remember. I remembered it right away. I do not understand why you yourself were so surprised to see it in the paper.
It wasn't in the paper. It's been 3 years since his death. I remembered it through an association of ideas.
What a pity. He was so well preserved.
He was the handsomest corpse in Great Britain. He didn't look his age. Poor Bobby Watson. He'd been dead for 4 years, and he was still warm. A veritable living corpse. And how cheerful he was.
Poor Bobby.
Oh, which poor Bobby do you mean?
It is his wife that I mean. She's called Bobby too. Bobby Watson. Since they had the same name, one could never tell one from the other when you saw them together. It wasn't until after his death that you could really tell which was which. And sometimes people still confuse her with the deceased and offer their condolences to him. Do you know her?
I only met her once, by chance, at Bobby's burial.
I've never seen her. Is she pretty?
She has regular features, but, one can't really say she's pretty. She's a little too big and stout. I mean, her features aren't regular, but, still one can say that she's very, very. But she's a little too small and thin. She's a voice teacher.
When do they plan to be married, those two?
Yeah, next spring, the latest.
We shall have to go to their wedding, I suppose.
We shall have to give them a wedding present. I wonder what?
Why don't we give them one of the 7 silver slavers that were given us for our wedding and have never been of any use? What a shame for her to be left a widow so young.
Fortunately, they had no children.
Oh, my God! Children! That's all they needed. The poor woman, how could she have managed?
Well, she's still young. She could very well remarry. She looks so well in mourning.
But who would take care of the children? You know very well they have a boy and a girl. What are their names?
Bobby and Bobby, like their parents. Bobby Watson's uncle, old Bobby Watson, is a rich man and very fond of the boy. I mean, he could very well pay for Bobby's education.
That would be proper. And Bobby Watson's aunt, old Bobby Watson, might very well pay for the education of Bobby's daughter. That way, Bobby Watson's mother could be married. Has she anyone in mind?
Yeah, cousin of Bobby Watson's.
Who? Bobby Watson?
Which Bobby Watson do you mean?
Why, it's the son of old Bobby Watson, the late Bobby Watson's other uncle.
No, it's not him, it's someone else. It's Bobby Watson, the son of old Bobby Watson, the late Bobby Watson's aunt.
Do you mean Bobby Watson, a commercial traveler?
All the Bobby Watsons are commercial travelers.
What a difficult trade. But they do well at it.
Yeah, when there's no competition.
When is there no competition?
On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Tuesdays.
Ah, 3 days a week? And what does Bobby Watson do on those days?
He rests, he sleeps.
But why doesn't Bobby work on those days if there's no competition?
I don't know everything. I can't answer all your idiotic questions.
Are you trying to humiliate me?
You know very well I'm not.
You men are all alike. You sit there all day long with a cigarette in your mouth and you powder your nose and rouge your lips 50 times a day. Or else you drink like a fish.
But what would you say if you saw men acting the way women do? Smoking all day long, powdering, rouging their lips, drinking whiskey?
It's nothing to me. You're really saying that to annoy me. You know very well I don't care for that kind of joking.
Oh, my little ducky daddy, what a little spitfire you are. You know I only said it as a joke. What a ridiculous little pair of lovers we are. Come, let's turn on the lights and go to my bed.
I'm the maid.
I spent a very pleasant afternoon. I went to the cinema with a man, and I went to see films and women. Afterwards, we went to drink some brandy and milk, and read news.
I hope you had a pleasant afternoon that you went to the cinema with a man and drank brandy and milk.
Oh, and the newspaper.
Mr. Martin, Miss Martin, your guests have arrived. They were waiting for me. They didn't dare come in by themselves. They were supposed to have delivered this evening.
Yes, we were expecting them. And we were hungry. We had nothing to eat all day. You should not have gone out.
But it was you who gave me permission.
We didn't do it on purpose.
I won't be a chamber pot.
My dear Mary, please go open the door and have Mr. and Mrs. Martin step in. We will go change quickly.
Why have you come so late? You are not very polite. People should be punctual. Now sit, now that you're here.
Excuse me, madam, but it seems to me, unless I'm mistaken, that I've met you somewhere before.
I too, sir. It seems to me that I've seen you somewhere before.
Was it by any chance at Manchester that I caught a glimpse of you, madam?
It is certainly possible. I'm originally from the city of Manchester, but I don't have a good memory. I'm afraid I don't know if it was there that I saw you or not.
Good God, how curious. I, too, am originally from the city of Manchester, madam.
That is curious.
Isn't that curious? Only, madam, I left the city of Manchester about, 5 weeks ago.
That is curious. What a bizarre coincidence. I too left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
Madam, I took the 8:30 morning train, which arrives in London at 4:45.
How curious that is. What a bizarre coincidence. I took that same train, sir. I too.
How curious that is. Well, perhaps it was on the train that we saw each other, madam.
It is certainly possible. That is not unlikely. It is plausible, and after all, why not? But I don't remember it, sir.
I traveled second class, madam. There is no second class in England, but I always travel second class.
That is curious. I too traveled second class.
How curious that is, and what a coincidence. Perhaps we did meet in second class, my dear lady.
It is possible, but I don't remember it, sir.
My seat was in coach 8, compartment 6, my dear lady.
What a bizarre coincidence. My seat was also in coach 8, compartment 6, dear sir.
How curious that is! How bizarre! What a coincidence! And perhaps we did meet in compartment 6, my dear lady.
It is possible, but I don't remember it, sir.
To tell you the truth, my dear lady, I do not remember it either, but it is plausible that we caught a glimpse of each other on that occasion, and it seems to me even very likely.
Truly, sir, truly.
How curious it is. I had seat 3 next to the window, my dear lady.
What a coincidence. Good Lord, what a bizarre coincidence. I had seat number 6 next to the window across from you, sir.
How curious that is. How bizarre. And what a coincidence. Then we were seated facing each other, my dear lady. It is perhaps there that we have met.
It is possible, but I don't remember it, sir.
To tell you the truth, my dear lady, I do not remember it either, but it is possible that we saw each other on that occasion.
It is possible, but I can't be sure.
Madam, were you not the lady who asked me to place her suitcase in the luggage rack, and who thanked me and gave me permission to smoke?
But of course, that must have been I. How curious it is. How curious it is, and what a coincidence.
How curious it is, and what a coincidence, and well, it was perhaps at that moment that we came to know each other, madam.
It is certainly possible, but I don't remember it, sir.
Nor do I, madam. Since coming to London, I have resided at Bromfield Street, my dear lady.
What a bizarre coincidence. Since coming to London, I too have resided at Bromfield Street.
How curious that is. Well then, perhaps we did meet at Bromfield Street, my dear lady.
It is certainly possible, but I don't remember it, sir.
I reside at number 19, my dear lady.
What a bizarre coincidence. I too reside at number 19 at Bromfield Street, dear sir.
Well then. Perhaps we met in that house, my dear lady.
It is certainly possible, but I don't recall it, sir.
My flat is on the 5th floor, number 8, dear lady.
What a coincidence. How strange. My flat is also number 8 on the 5th floor, dear sir.
How curious it is. How curious it is. How curious it is. And what a coincidence then. And, you know, in my bedroom, there is a bed and is covered with a green eiderdown. This room with the bed and the green eiderdown is at the end of the corridor between the WC and the bookcase, my dear lady.
How curious that is. My bedroom too has a bed with a green eiderdown and is located at the end of the corridor between the WCs, dear sir, and the bookcase.
How curious, bizarre, strange, then, madam, we live in the same room and we sleep in the same bed. It is perhaps there that we have met.
It is certainly possible that we have met there, and even last night. But I don't recall it, sir.
I have a little daughter. She lives with me, dear lady. She is 2 years old. She's blonde. She has a white eye and a red eye. She is very pretty. Her name is Alice, dear lady.
What a coincidence. Good Lord, what a coincidence. I too have a little girl. She's 2 years old, has a red eye and a white eye. She's very pretty. And her name is Alice too, dear sir.
How curious that is, and what a coincidence. And bizarre. Perhaps they are the same, dear lady.
How curious that is. It is indeed possible after all.
Then, my dear lady, there can be no doubt about it. We have seen each other before, and you are my own wife. Elizabeth, I found you again.
Donald, it's you, darling!
Elizabeth and Donald are too happy to be able to hear you. Therefore, I can let you in on a secret. Elizabeth is not Elizabeth. Donald is not Donald. And here's the proof. The child in which Donald speaks of is not the same person. And Donald's child has a one white eye and one red eye, like Elizabeth's. Whereas Donald's child has a white right eye and a red left eye. Elizabeth's daughter has a right red eye and a white left eye. Therefore, all the Donald system of deduction collapses when it comes up against his whole theory. In spite of the extraordinary coincidences seeming to be definitive proof, Donald and Elizabeth, not being the parents of the same child, are not Donald and Elizabeth. It is in vain that he thinks he is Donald. It is in vain that she thinks she is Elizabeth. He believes in vain that he is Donald. She believes in vain that she is Elizabeth. But who is the true Donald? Who is the true Elizabeth? Who has any interest in prolonging this confusion? I don't know. Let's try not to know. Let's leave things as they are. My real name is Sherlock
Darling, let's forget all that has not passed between us. And now that we've found each other again, let's try not to lose each other and live as before.
Yes, darling.
Good evening, dear friends. Please forgive us for having made you wait so long. We thought we should extend you the courtesy to which you're entitled. And since you gave us the pleasure of coming to see us without prior notice, we hurried to dress for the occasion.
We have had nothing to eat all day, and we've been waiting 4 whole hours for you. Why have you come so late?
Oh, but definitely.
We all have codes.
Nevertheless, it's not chilly.
There's no draft.
Oh, no, fortunately.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Don't you feel well?
No, he's wet his pants.
Oh, sir, at your age, you shouldn't.
The heart is ageless.
That's true.
So they say.
They also say the opposite.
The truth lies somewhere between the two.
It's true.
Since you two travel so much, you must have many interesting stories to tell us.
My dear, tell us what you have seen today.
It is scarcely worth the trouble, for you wouldn't believe me.
Oh, we're not going to question your sincerity.
You will offend us if you think that.
You'll offend them, my dear, if you think that.
Well, today I saw something incredible, something extraordinary.
Tell us quickly, my dear.
Oh, this is going to be amusing.
At last.
Well, today I went shopping to buy some vegetables, which are growing to be dearer and dearer.
Where is it all going to end?
Oh, you shouldn't interrupt, my dear. It's very rude.
Well, in the street, near the cafe, I saw a man, properly dressed, about 50 years old, or not even that,
Who?
What?
Don't interrupt, my dear. You're disgusting.
My dear, it's you who interrupted first, you poor.
Hush. What was this man doing?
well, this man was down on one knee, and he was bent over.
Oh,
Yes, bent over.
not possible.
Yes, bent over. I went to get a closer look at what he was doing, and
And what?
he was tying his shoelace, which had come undone.
Fantastic! If someone else had told me the story, I'd not believe it.
Why not? One sees things even more extraordinary when one walks around. For instance, today I myself saw a man in the underground, quietly sitting on a bench, reading his newspaper. What a character!
Perhaps it was a Sandman. Goodness, someone's ringing.
There must be somebody there. I'll go and see. No one.
Let me give you another example.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
There must be somebody there. I'll go and see. Nobody.
You were going to give us another example?
Oh, right.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
I'm not going to open the door again.
Yes, but there must be someone there.
The first time there was no one. The second time, no one. Why do you think there's someone there now?
Because someone has rung.
And that's no reason.
What? When one hears the doorbell ring, that means that someone is on the other end waiting to have it opened.
And that's not true. We've just seen otherwise.
In most cases, yes.
Well, as for me, when I go to visit someone, I ring in order to be admitted. See, I believe that everybody does the exact same thing, and that each time there is a ring at the door, there must be someone there.
That is true in theory, but in reality, things happen differently. You have just seen otherwise. Aren't I right?
Your wife is right.
Oh, you women, you're always standing up for each other.
Well, I'll go and see. You can't say that I'm obstinate, but you will see that there's no one there. You see? There's no one there. These men think they're always right and we're always wrong.
Goodness! Someone is ringing. There must be someone there.
Do not send me to open the door again. You have seen that it is useless. Experience teaches us that whenever you hear the doorbell ring, it is because there's never anyone there.
Never.
That's not entirely accurate.
In fact, it's false. Whenever there's a ring at the doorbell, it means that there's someone there.
He won't admit he's wrong.
My husband is also very obstinate.
There's someone there!
That's not impossible.
No.
Yes!
I tell you no. And in any case, you're not going to disturb me again. If you wish to know, go and look yourself.
I'll go. Oh! How do you do? It's the fire chief!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Mrs. Smith. You seem to be upset.
Oh?
You see, it's because my wife here is a little chagrined at having been proven wrong.
There's been an argument between Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. Fire Chief.
This is no business of yours. I beg you not to involve outsiders in our family arguments.
My dear, this is not so serious. The fire chief is an old friend of the family. His mother courted me, and I knew his father. He asked me to give him my daughter in marriage if I ever had one, and he died waiting.
That's neither his fault nor yours.
Well, what is it all about?
Well, my husband was claiming that...
No. It was you who was claiming.
Yes, it was she.
No, it was he.
Don't get excited. You tell me, Mrs. Smith.
Well, it is difficult for me to speak openly to you, but a fireman is also a confessor.
Well then,
We were arguing because my husband was saying that every time the doorbell rings, there's always someone there.
It is plausible.
And I was saying that every time the doorbell rings, there's never anyone there.
It might seem strange.
But it has been proven, not by theoretical demonstrations, but by facts.
That is false because the fire chief is right here. He rang the bell, I opened the door, and there he was.
When?
But just now.
Yes, but it was only after you heard the doorbell ring the fourth time that there was someone there. And the fourth time doesn't count.
Never. It's only the first 3 times that counts.
Mr. Fire Chief, permit me, in my turn, to ask you several questions.
go right ahead.
When I opened the door and saw you, it was really you who had rung the bell?
Yes, it was I.
And you read the door, and you rang in order to be admitted.
I do not deny it. Oh, fire hazard!
You see? I was right. Whenever there's a ring at the door, it means that there's someone there. I mean, you certainly cannot say that the fire chief is not someone.
Certainly not. I repeat to you, I am speaking of only the first 3 times, since the 4th time does not count.
When the door rang the first time, was it you?
No, it was not I.
See? The doorbell rang and there was nobody there.
Perhaps it was someone else.
Were you standing at the door a long time?
3/4 of an hour.
And you saw no one?
No one. I'm sure of that.
When the doorbell rang the second time, did you hear it?
Yes, but it was not I, and there was still no one there.
Ah, victory! I was right.
Not so fast. And what were you doing at the door at this time?
Nothing. I was just standing there. I was thinking of many things.
But the 3rd time, it was not you who rang.
Yes, it was I.
But when the door was opened, there was no one in sight.
That was because I'd hidden myself as a joke.
Don't make jokes, Mr. Fire Chief. This business is too sad.
In short, we still do not know that whether when the doorbell rings, there's someone at the other end or not.
Never anyone, always someone.
I'm going to reconcile you. You both are partly right. When the doorbell rings, sometimes there's someone, and other times there's no one.
This seems plausible to me.
I think so too.
Life is very simple, really. Go on and kiss each other.
We just kissed a little while ago.
They'll kiss each other tomorrow, and they have plenty of time.
Mr. Fire Chief, since you have settled this, why don't you stay a little while, make yourself comfortable?
Excuse me, but I can't stay long. I'm on official business. I should like to remove my helmet and sit down, but I haven't the time. I must admit, I've come to see you for another reason. I'm on official business.
What can we do for you?
I must beg you to excuse my indiscretion. You don't mind? In front of them.
Say whatever you like.
We're old friends. They tell us everything.
Speak. Ah, what? Is there a fire here?
Why do you ask us that?
It is because, pardon me, I have orders to extinguish all the fires in the city.
All?
Yes, all.
I don't know. I don't think so. Do you want me to go and check?
I don't think there's one here. There's no smell of them burning.
None? At all? A little fire just starting in the chimney? A little something burning in the cellar or the attic? A little fire just starting, at least?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we don't have anything here. I promised to notify you when we do have something.
Please don't forget, it would be very helpful.
That's a promise.
And there's nothing burning at your house either?
No, unfortunately.
Things aren't going so well just now.
Very poorly. There's been almost nothing. A few trifles, a chimney, a barn. Nothing important. It doesn't bring in much. And since there are no returns, the profits on output are very meager.
Times are bad, but that's true all over. It's the same this year with business and agriculture as it is with fires. Nothing's prospering.
No wheat, no fires.
No floods either.
But there is some sugar.
Oh, that's because it's important.
It's harder in the case of fires. The tariffs are too high.
All the same, there's an occasional asphyxiation by gas, but that's unusual too. For instance, a young woman asphyxiated herself last week. She had left the gas on.
Have you forgotten this?
No, but she thought it was her cone.
These confusions are always dangerous.
Did you go see the match dealer?
There's nothing doing there. He's insured against fires.
Why don't you go see the Vicar of Wakefield and use my name?
I don't have the right to extinguish clergymen's fires. The bishop would get angry. Besides, they extinguish their fires themselves or have them put out by Vestal virgins.
Go see the Durans.
I can't do that either. He's not English. He's only been naturalized. And naturalized citizens have the right to have houses, but not the right to have them put out if they're burning.
When they set fire to it last year, it was put out just the same.
He did that all by himself, clandestinely. But it's not I who would report him.
Neither would I.
Mr. Fire Chief, since you're not too pressed, why don't you stay a little while longer? You'd be doing us a favor.
Shall I tell you some stories?
Oh, by all means. How charming of you.
Yes, some stories, hurrah! And what's even more interesting is the fact that firemen stories are all true, and they're based on experience.
I speak from experience. Truth, nothing but the truth. No fiction.
Truth is never found in books, only in life.
Begin.
He's beginning.
Excuse me, but please don't look at me that way. You embarrass me.
You know that I'm shy.
Isn't he charming?
I'm going to try to begin anyhow. But promise me that you won't listen.
But if we don't listen to you, then we won't hear you.
I didn't think of that.
I told you he's just a boy.
Oh, what a sweet child.
Shut up.
Well then, the dog and the cow, an experimental fable. Once upon a time, another cow asked another dog, "Why have you not swallowed your trunk?" "Pardon me," replied the dog. "It is because I thought I was an elephant."
What is the moral?
That's for you to find out.
He's right.
Tell us another.
A calf had eaten too much ground glass. As a result, it was obliged to give birth. It brought forth a cow into the world. However, since the calf was male, the cow could not call him mama, nor could she call him papa because the calf was too little. The calf was then obliged to get married, and the registry office carried out all the details completely a la mode.
Oh, a la mode Cayenne.
Like tribes.
You've heard of that one?
It was in all the papers.
It happened not far from our house.
I'll tell you another one. The cock. Once upon a time, a cock wished to play the dog, but he had no luck because everyone recognized him right away.
On the other hand, the dog that plays the cock was never recognized.
Oh, I'll tell you one. The snake and the fox. Once upon a time, a snake came up to a fox and said, "It seems to me that I know you." The fox replied to him, "Me too." "Then," said the snake, "give me some money." "A fox doesn't give money," replied the tricky animal, who, in order to escape, jumped down into a deep ravine full of strawberries and chicken honey. But the snake was there waiting for him with a Mephistophelian laugh. The fox pulled out his knife and shouted, "I'll teach you how to live!" And he turned his back and took to flight, but it was too late. The snake was quicker. With a well-chosen blow of his fist, he struck the fox square in the forehead, which broke into 1,000 pieces, while he cried, "No! No! 4 times! No! I'm not your daughter!"
It's interesting.
It's not bad.
My congratulations.
Not so good. And anyway, I've heard that one before.
It's terrible.
But it wasn't even true.
No, unfortunately.
It's your turn, my dear lady.
I only know one. I'm going to tell it to you. It's called the Bouquet.
My wife has always been romantic.
She's a true English woman.
Well, here it is. Once upon a time, a fiancé gave his fiancée a bouquet of flowers, and she said thanks. But before she said thanks, he, without saying a single word, took back the flowers he had given her to teach her a good lesson, and he said, "I take them back." And he took back the flowers he had given her, and said goodbye, and went off in all directions.
Oh, charming.
You have a wife, Mr. Smith, of whom all the world is jealous.
It's true. My wife is intelligence personified. She's even more intelligent than I. In any case, she's much more feminine. Everyone says so.
Tell us another, Mr. Fire Chief.
Oh, no, it's too late.
Tell us one anyway.
I'm too tired.
Please do us a favor.
I beg you.
No.
You have a heart of ice. We are sitting on hot coals.
I implore you!
Righto.
Please, we're gonna bore us again.
No luck. I was too polite.
The head cold. My brother-in-law had, on the paternal side, a first cousin whose maternal uncle had a paternal grandfather whose father-in-law had married as his second wife a young native, whose brother he had met on one of his travels, a girl of whom he was enamored by, and had a son who married an intrepid lady pharmacist, who was none other than a niece of an unknown fourth-class petty officer of the Royal Navy, whose adopted father had an aunt who spoke Spanish fluently, and who was, perhaps, the granddaughter of an engineer who died young, himself the grandson of the owner of a vineyard which produced mediocre wine, and whose second cousin, stay-at-home sergeant major, had a son who married a very pretty young woman, a divorcee, whose first husband was the son of a loyal patriot who, in the hopes of making his fortune, had managed to bring up one of his daughters so that she could marry a footman who had known Rothschild, and whose brother, after having changed his trade several times, had a daughter whose stunted great-grandfather wore spectacles and had been given him by a cousin of his, brother-in-law of the man from Portugal, natural son of a miller, not too badly off, whose foster brother had married the daughter of a former country doctor, himself the foster brother of the son of a forester, himself the natural son of another country doctor, married 3 times, whose third wife.
Oh, I knew that third wife, if I'm not mistaken. She ate chickens sitting on a hornet's nest.
It's not the same one. Shh. As I was saying, whose third wife was the daughter of the best midwife in the region, and who, early left a widow, like my wife, had married a glazier who was full of life, and who had, by the daughter of the station master, a child who had burned his bridges.
Bridges?
No, his bridge game.
And had married an oyster woman whose father had a brother, mayor of a small town, who had a son who married a very pretty blonde schoolteacher, whose cousin, a fly fisherman,
Fly by night.
had married another blonde schoolteacher named Marie, too, whose brother had married another Marie, also a blonde schoolteacher,
Since she's blonde, she must be Marie.
and whose father had been reared in Canada by an old woman, who was the niece of a priest, whose grandmother, occasionally in the winter, like everyone else, caught a cold.
Curious story. Almost unbelievable.
If you catch a cold, you should get yourself a coat.
It's a useless precaution, but absolutely necessary.
Excuse me, Mr. Fire Chief, but I got confused. I got all mixed up when we got to the grandmother of the priest.
One always gets mixed up in the hands of a priest.
Oh yes. Begin again, Mr. Fire Chief. Everyone wants to hear.
I don't know whether I'll be able to. I'm on official business. It depends on what time it is.
Oh, we don't have the time here.
But the clock?
Oh, it runs poorly. It's contradictory and always indicates the exact opposite of what the time really is.
Sir,
What do you want?
What have you come in here for?
I hope, madam, sir, will excuse me, and ladies and gentlemen too, I would like to tell a story myself.
What is she saying?
I believe that our friend's maid is going crazy. She wants to tell us a story too.
Who does she think she is? Oh, why are you butting in?
This is really uncalled for, Mary.
Oh, but it is she.
And you?
Incredible! Here!
What does all this mean?
You know each other?
And how?
I'm so glad to see you again. At last.
Oh! This is too much. Here in our home in the suburbs of London.
It's not proper.
It was she who extinguished my first fires.
I'm your little fire hose.
If that is the case, then these emotions are understandable, human, honorable.
All that is human is honorable.
Still, I don't like to see it. Here, among us.
She's not properly brought up.
Oh, you have too many prejudices.
Well, what I think is that a maid, even though it's none of her business, is only ever really just maids.
Even though she can sometimes be a rather good detective.
Let me go.
No, don't be upset. They're not so bad, really.
You two are very touching, but at the same time, a little.
Yes, that's exactly the word.
A little too exhibitionistic.
There is a native British modesty, forgive me, yet again, for attempting to define my train of thought. Not understood by foreigners, even by specialists, thanks to which, if I may thus express myself, of course, I don't need to refer to you.
I was going to tell you.
Oh,
Yes.
Go, my little Mary. Go to the kitchen and read your poems before the mirror.
You know, even though I'm not a maid, I still read my poems before the mirror.
When you went to the mirror this morning, you didn't see yourself.
That's because I wasn't there yet.
All the same, I could perhaps recite a little poem for you.
My little Mary, you are frightfully obstinate.
Well, it's agreed then. I'm going to recite a poem. It is entitled The Fire in Honor of the Fire Chief. The polypoids were burning in the wood. Stone caught fire. The castle caught fire. Men caught fire. The women caught fire. The birds caught fire. The sky caught fire. The fish caught fire. The water caught fire. The ashes caught fire. The smoke caught fire. The fire caught fire. Everything caught fire. Caught fire.
That sent chills up my spine.
And yet, there's a certain warmth in those lines.
I thought it was marvelous.
All the same, I think
You're exaggerating.
Just a minute. I admit, all this is very subjective. But this is my conception of the world. My world. My dream. My ideal. And now this reminds me that I must leave. Since you don't have the time here, I must tell you that in exactly 3/4 of an hour and 16 minutes, I'm having fire at the other end of the city. Consequently, I must hurry, although it will be quite unimportant.
Oh, what will it be? A little chimney fire?
Oh, not even that. A straw fire and a little heartburn.
Well, we're sorry to see you go.
You've been very entertaining.
Thanks to you, we've passed a truly Cartesian quarter of an hour.
Speaking of that, the bald soprano.
She always wears her hair in the same style.
Ah, well then. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Good luck and a good fire.
Let's hope so. For everybody.
I could buy a pocket knife for my brother, but you can't buy Ireland for your grandfather.
One walks with his feet, but one heats with electricity or coal.
He who sells an ox today will have an egg tomorrow.
In real life, one must look out the window.
One can sit on the chair if the chair doesn't have any.
One must always think of everything.
The ceiling is above. The floor is below.
When I say yes, it's only in a manner of speaking.
To each his own.
Take a circle, caress it, and it will turn vicious.
A schoolmaster teaches his pupils to read, while the cat suckles her young when they are small.
But nevertheless, it was a cow that gave us tails.
When I'm in the country, I love the solitude and the quiet.
You are not old enough yet for that.
Benjamin Franklin was right. You are more nervous than he.
What were the 7 days of the week?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Edward is a clerk. His sister Nancy, a typist. Their brother William, a shop assistant.
An odd family.
I would rather burn the bush to a sparrow than a barrow.
Rather stake in the chalet than gristle in a castle.
An Englishman's home is truly his castle.
I don't know enough Spanish to make myself understood.
I can give you my mother-in-law's slippers if you'll give me your husband's coffin.
I'm looking for a monophyste priest to marry our maid.
Bread is a staff, whereas bread is also a staff. And an oak springs from an oak every morning at dawn.
My uncle lives in the country, but that's none of the midwife's business.
Paper is for writing. A cat's for the rat. Cheese is for scratching.
The car goes very fast, but the cook feeds batter better.
Don't be turkeys, rather kiss the conspirator.
Charity begins at home.
I'm waiting for the aqueduct to come meet me at my windmill.
One can prove that social progress is definitely better with sugar.
To hell with polishing!
One doesn't polish spectacles with black wax.
Yes, but with money one can buy anything.
I'd rather kill a rabbit than go sing in the garden.
Cockatoos, 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 cockatoos.
Such caca, such caca, such caca, such caca, such caca, such caca, such caca.
Such cascades of caucus, such cascades of caucus, such cascades of caucus, such cascades of caucus.
Dogs have fleas, dogs have fleas.
Cactus, crocus, coccyx, cockaded cockroach.
In Casca, you in Cascas!
I'd rather lay an egg in a box than go and steal an ox.
Let me gnash my teeth.
Crocodile!
Let's go and slap Ulysses.
I'm
trees and cacao farms don't bear coconuts, they yield cocoa. Cacao trees and cacao farms don't bear coconuts, they yield cocoa.
Mice have lice. Lice haven't mice.
Don't ruche my brooch.
Don't smooch the brooch.
Groom the goose, don't goose the groom.
The goose grooms.
Groom your tooth.
Groom the bridegroom. Groom the bridegroom.
Seduce your seduce.
Scaramouche. Saint Natouche.
Go take a douche.
I've been goosed.
Saint Natouche stoops to my cartouche.
Who would choose to stoop?
I would never stoop to blame.
Robert!
Browning.
Rudyard! Kipling!
Robert Kipling.
Rudyard Browning!
Silly gobble gobblers, silly gobble gobblers.
Mariana, spot the pot.
Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti.
The Pope elopes. The Pope's got no horoscope. The horoscope's bespoke.
Bazaar, bazooka?
Bizarre, Boar, Brazier.
I.
B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, R, Q, S, T, V, W, X, Z.
From stage to stooge, from stage to surge.
It's
Not
That
way. It's
over
Burr.
here.
It's not that